everyone, and welcome to episode 29 of the Dittmer Knittery podcast. I'm ever so happy to have all of you here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like today's video. My name is Bev, and you will find information about me and Dittmer Knittery in the description box. I'm also going to mention some things today, some other channels and some information that I will provide links for in that description box. Of course, if you don't find what you need, let me know and I'll see if I can help you find what you're looking for. And always I enjoy your comments and emails. I look forward to hearing from you. Today, I'm going to show you a new piece of equipment in the knittery. I'm going to go off on a long tangent. I'll show you a finished object, 2 works in progress, and near the end I'll share some exciting personal news. First, the finished object because it's hot. This is a wool knitted felted hat that I have embellished with needle felting. I'll take it off and let you see it a little bit more closely in just a moment. People have given a lot of positive feedback about my hats, and I've even gotten a few orders for them. And so I'm creating some more hats, some custom items, and I'm really enjoying this work quite a lot. So this is Patton's Classic Wool knitted hat that I hot water felted by hand, and then I used needle felting to apply these flowers and vines. And this is a size large. It's too large on me. There was plenty of room up on top of my head inside the hat there, but I really like it a lot. And that one is one that someone requested, but I have made several other hats. I have several in process, and I've really enjoyed doing that. So that's my finished object. Next, I'm going to talk about the new piece of equipment I got for the knittery. First, I'm going to show you a couple of photographs. This is a yarn ball winder and a Swift that someone gave me. They're both very nice. I'm very glad to have them. The ball winder is quite small. And then here's the tangent. It's kind of a long one. Something I've been wanting to say, and I think this is the time. Lately, I've shown some things that people have given me. Yarn, felt, fibers, a ball winder, a Swift. In the past few years, I have had 3 major benefactors of goods, people who gave me things, and some minor donations as well. I don't ever say this to boast, to point out that I have things that I didn't have to pay for. Please don't ever take it that way. I say it to continue to point out to myself and remind myself that I'm the recipient of great generosity. I didn't ask for these things. They came to me suddenly with no warning that great fortune was about to befall me. Here where I live, in the town where I live, we used to have a local yarn shop. It's been closed for quite a few years now, but we still talk about it. We remember what a nice place it was and how much we enjoyed it. Being able to get yarn locally. I was fortunate enough to be friends with the owner because, of course, I went in there fairly often. And several years after she closed the shop, and she had sold all the yarn that she could, and she had to clean out her basement to make room for a family member to move in. And she gave me all of her remaining wool yarn and sock yarn. and a bin full of felt fabric, a felting machine, which, yes, one day I will show you. It's kind of a nifty little thing. And she also gave me the Swift and the ball winder that I showed. Oh, and a chair for my living room. So that was one person whose generosity I can't express my appreciation enough for how this person has supported my art career. Another local crafter in my community, someone I know but I don't know well, she said that she just couldn't continue to do the felting, and she gave me all of her wool fibers. And this was bins and bins and bins full of roving and batting things, especially for needle felting and wet felting. As payment, she asked for a hat, which she finally got a few weeks ago. You saw it on one of my videos. It was the first hat that I showed on, that I have recently made. That was the hat that I made for her, because she asked me for a hat, and I said, well, I don't make hats. And she said, well, I want a hat. And she'd given me all this fiber, and I had to just, one day make her a hat. It's the right thing to do. And again, I have such appreciation. I'm very grateful. Another local woman, someone that's lived in my town for a long time, but I was not acquainted with her at all. She contacted, I believe, the local art center and said that she had fabric to donate, a large collection of fabric to donate, and the art center put it on Facebook, and I responded. And I didn't really need fabric, but it was a lot of fabric, and she said she was going to take it to the dump. And so I went to her home, and her husband loaded my vehicle with bins and bins and bins of all kinds of fabric, from holiday prints to corduroys to upholstery fabrics, just about any kind of fabric you could imagine, and some of it in very great quantities. Cotton sheeting, yards and yards of linen and muslin, just so very nice. And as I was leaving, she said, do you have a serger? And I said, no. I've always kind of wanted one, but I've never had one. And she went in her house and got her serger and put it in my car and sent me home with that too. She said she was done with sewing. She was done with fabric. She had done this sewing and crafting with her mom, who had passed away, and she was cleaning out her house, and she wanted to part with these things. And I, again, felt very fortunate that I was the one to be able to get these things, because it just has made so many things possible for me to have these supplies. So these three people that I just described, these three women, those are my main benefactors. And then over the years, others very dear to me have given me yarn and tools and bought my art. Sometimes, most conveniently at those times when I really needed the money. So I understand that I owe my success to the generosity of others, and I will continue to remind myself of that. If you hear me talk about it, like go off on a tangent about it, that's what I'm doing, is reminding myself of others' generosity and their contribution to my success. A friend purchased this yarn for me. I have 2 hanks of it like this. This is a Plymouth yarn, Mushishi, 95% wool, 5% silk. It's so beautiful. And these hanks are 491 yards. I'm thinking, close 8 to 10 ounces of yarn, most likely. And of course that small ball winder is not going to wind that hank of yarn. So I bought a new ball winder. It's a Stanwood. It works very well. Here's some information about it, and I of course will provide this link in the description box as well. Again, it's a Stanwood. I got it on sale. I think I paid about $65 for it, and having received it and worked with it, I would say it's worth that, definitely. This is a 3-ounce ball of Patton's Classic Wool that I wound on the new winder, and it's just about perfect. And it winds up so quickly and neatly that it makes my projects go faster, because I don't have to think about, oh, I'm going to have to spend time winding yarn, because this large ball winder just does it so efficiently and quickly. And here I'll show you. I have the other hank of this yarn on my Swift, and I'm going to wind some of this yarn into a ball. And it just works beautifully and smoothly. It is so lovely. I couldn't ask for it to work better and make nicer yarn cakes for me. And there's the Swift in motion as well as the ball winder. Now this is the same small Swift I had before. It works just fine, but I did have to get the larger ball winder, and I'm so glad I did. I sure wish I had this ball winder when I started this next project I'm going to show you. Here's a preview of the next work in progress I'm going to talk about. It is nearly finished, but not quite. A couple of more rounds and a border. This is a Lost Souls blanket I'm making from the tutorials on Fiber Spider's channel. Of course, I'll provide links to the tutorials and the channel. If you're not already subscribed to Fiber Spider, I strongly suggest you go over there. If you want to make a blanket like this is a great tutorial. His other tutorials and his videos are very, very good. I highly recommend that you spend some time watching his videos. And if you would, go over there and subscribe and let him know I sent you. This has been such a fun project. I hope I'm getting close to the end. You can clearly see the skulls of the lost souls in this blanket, in the pattern. I think it looks just great. It has been so much fun. And one of the really fun things about this is that as I crochet, as I make these skulls, these lost souls, they seem to become somewhat animated right beneath my fingers, right in my hands. They come to life and begin to sway and moan. I just think that's so much fun. I've really enjoyed this a lot. And I promised this Lost Souls blanket to a friend a long time ago. She bought the yarn in November. So there's no reason that I don't have it done other than I've let. There's no reason I don't have it done other than I have let other projects distract me. Thank you for understanding, Heather. You know I love you and Anthony and Katie Cat. A few weeks ago, I started doing some work on this almost every day, and I've made progress. But after all of my procrastinating, I got slowed down by the yarn. I don't like the term yarn barf, but I have to use it to describe the behavior of this yarn. Usually if the yarn barfs, you clean it up and you move on. And to explain, yarn barf is the term that we fiber crafters and artists use when the skein of yarn does this. The yarn does not feed properly from the center. It just throws up a bunch of yarn that you have to untangle. So you untangle it, you get back where you need to be, you start working again, and you try to pull a little yarn from the center of the skein again, and the whole thing happens again. Now, if this is a small ball, if this is a small skein of yarn, this happens usually one time. You pull out the middle of the skein, you have a big mess, you clean it up, you make your yarn into a usable cake or ball, and you move on with your project. But this is a pound of love. This is not a 3-ounce skein. This is a 16-ounce skein. And every time I have cleaned up this clump and moved on with the project, and then I use up the yarn that I've untangled, and I go to get more yarn from the center of the skein, and the whole thing happens again. I get this yarn barf. And it has taken up a significant amount of time, which, you know, I couldn't have known that the skein of yarn was going to do that. It doesn't happen all the time. And I had a previous skein of this exact same kind of yarn that worked just fine. But this has been really frustrating, to the point that I'm very near finished, and I had to set it aside again because I just have to give it a break. But I know I'll get it done soon. And all that because I just wanted to tattle on its bad behavior. And that was uncalled for and slowed me down on this project. The next work in progress I have to share with you has been a joy. So I'll be back in just a few minutes to talk about that. I said that my next project has been a joy to work on, and it has. It's Tunisian crochet, and I really enjoy that. And when I've done it previously, as I work in the round, I do Tunisian crochet in the round most of the time, and I wondered what it would look like if you did the first pass in one color and the second pass in another color. And I thought about this, so I brought it up on the July 17th live when I was talking to Ginger, the Yarn Geek, and we chatted about it a little bit. We agreed that we needed to try it. So I did. I made this small basket, and I used 2 colors of yarn, as you can tell, a blue and a green. I'll show you the yarn in a minute. And I started by making the blue bottom, and then I worked the first pass in blue and worked the stitches off the second pass in green for these rows. And then I switched it up and I did the first pass in green and then worked the stitches off the second pass in blue. I really like it. I like the effect very much. And of course I'm going to hot water felt it and shrink it. This green round right here, I probably should have done that in blue. It would have made a more consistent effect, but I really like it. I don't care. I think it looks great. It was a lot of fun, and you know, so small that I did it in a matter of just a few hours because Tunisian crochet goes so quickly. I started a larger basket I think I started it last night. I'm still working on the bottom, so there's not much to show. I'm using Lamb's Pride wool, and I don't have the cakes to show you because they're with the project that I'm working on. But these, this is the yarn I'm using in these colors. This is Limeade, Lamb's Pride, 85% wool, 15% mohair from Brown Sheep Wool in Mitchell, Nebraska. And then this is the blue I'm using, which is the same makeup of yarn, just a different color. Same brand of yarn, just a different color. And of course, like I said, I'm showing you these skeins off my shelf because the yarn I'm working with, I wound up into cakes on my new ball winder. And I don't know why it's a ball winder and you make cakes on it, but that's fine with me. I like it being a ball winder and I like calling them cakes, so that's what I'll probably continue to do. Anyway, I did wind up, the ball winder makes me quite happy, you can tell. And so does the yarn. I did wind these up and I started another basket. And then I showed you earlier in the video that I was winding up this lovely cake of yarn. And I finished winding it up and I thought you might enjoy seeing it because it did turn out very, very nice. A beautiful cake of yarn. I just love it. And this is pardon me, I believe this is 10 ounces of yarn. And so I needed that larger ball winder to accommodate this large of a ball, and I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. Now to the personal part of the video, which what I'm going to talk about could mean some changes for my YouTube channel, probably will mean some changes for my YouTube channel, but I enjoy this very much. And I feel like I've got some momentum, I've got some interest, and I hope to be able to continue. I have been offered a full-time job, a good job, at the local university in the Human Resources Department as their front counter person, administrator, budget administrator. So I'm very excited about that. So far it's a verbal offer, but I have no reason to believe that I won't receive the formal offer here any day. I'm very, very excited about it and deeply grateful for the opportunity. This is something that I have wanted for a long time. I have applied for a few positions at the university, the same type of work in different departments, budget work and administrative, which is what I do. I'm an accountant, and I feel so fortunate to be able to have this position, and I start, I believe, August 9th. So by the time you're seeing this, that will probably be just a few days away. Thank you for your support. I feel that my YouTube community supports me in every way, including in this endeavor that, you don't know much about because we talk about yarny things here. But I wanted to share my joy and hope with you. And I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you watching. I hope that you will watch some more of my videos, that you will like and subscribe if you like what you saw here. Please take care of yourselves and take care of one another. Peace, love, and I will see you again soon.